Deputy Speaker, the US President Harry Truman used to have a sign on his desk saying, "The buck stops here." But if the Prime Minister had a sign on his desk, it would say, "I don't hold a hose." In fact, no one in this government holds a hose on anything or appears to care about the consequence of either maladministration or inaction. That callous indifference to consequence has been on show again for all to hear in question time this week. Deputy Speaker, members of the House will remember that last September we had an MPI on robo-debt. In that debate, I provided examples of affected Bean constituents and to call out this terrible scheme. And today I speak again to call out this government's failure to take responsibility for its illegal scheme, a scheme that has done so much damage to so many families in Bean and across the country. Deputy Speaker, you can just imagine the minister responsible for robo-debt ringing around trying to find some members to talk in the September MPI defending this shameless scheme. Trust me, he may have said. We'll give you some talking points you can obfuscate on. Just go in the chamber, blame them, attack the member for Maribyrnong, take no responsibility, say it's a scare campaign, and if you want to go there, remind people on welfare they should consider themselves lucky for the support of the tax system. Well, Deputy Speaker, I'm sure he got a few knockbacks from MPs like the member for Bass, but the minister did find a few members who were willing and able. We had the minister himself try his rubbish "we all collect debt" argument, failing then and failing now to take responsibility for this scheme. We had the member for Petrie, who spoke with pleasure on this matter. And then we had the member for Barker, who too was pleased to get up and defend the scheme, saying that the pursuit of justice was nothing more than a robo-scare campaign.
Order. The minister is point of order.
Just for the member, on the member for Petrie, I haven't spoken on the matter.
Yeah, I apologise to the member for Petrie. It was one of your other colleagues, though. But haven't those talking points aged well? And I'm glad the member for Petrie didn't use them. In contrast, I raised the case of a constituent of mine, the mother of a person with an intellectual disability that had undergone a review of past income by Centrelink through the robo-debt catastrophe. After receiving a threatening letter demanding a debt to be paid, the daughter passed the letter on to her mum. Luckily, her mother appealed the decision on her behalf and demanded that Services Australia review all payments. I can update the House that the outcome of that stressful review was that Services Australia actually owed her. As this devoted mum said to her, her daughter was very lucky because she had parents who could appeal the case for her. I know there are other cases that have ended disastrously for the individuals involved. But, Deputy Speaker, to only focus on the Liberal members in the last debate lets the real architect off the hook for what is being described as the worst example of maladministration and callous indifference to vulnerable Australians. That is the member for Cook himself. It was the member for Cook who instituted this process to collect what the government hoped would be billions of dollars of overpayments. It was this government who attempted to justify the practice by claiming Labor had done similar in the past, a claim we hear again and again from the minister. A lie repeated remains a lie. For years, this government has been in denial about robo-debt's fairness and legality, and their obfuscation does not end there. This week, we even had the blocking of the tabling of a simple and saddening note from a mother of the victim of the scheme. Well, Deputy Speaker, I'd hoped Minister Robert provided some more humble and sincere talking points for today's debate, but I was sadly disappointing. Since the last MPI, the government has made a last-minute pre-trial admission conceding it owes robo-debt victims their money back plus compensation. This is likely to total more than $1.2 billion the government owes victims of the robo-debt scheme. The settlement is some level of justice for victims who've been treated terribly by this government. The robo-debt scheme has wreaked untold damage and harm to hundreds of thousands of people. And as has been noted by many, the number of ministers responsible, all of whom are still in Cabinet, and the public sector chiefs who oversaw it should be held to account and shouldn't remain in their positions. They shouldn't be simply reshuffled in coming weeks. This whole episode is a shameful moment in Australian history. We need a royal commission into this failed and damaging scheme to get the answers the victims, the Parliament and the Australian community deserve.